Hi, I'm Lew Whitney. I've been with Rogers Gardens for 40 years, and today I have the privilege of talking to you about my absolute favorite summer blooming plant, the dahlia family. I just cut all these dahlias, and incidentally, these are real, they're not fake. I just cut all of these in the gardens of Casa Pacifica, the former Western White House in San Clemente, where we're filming this video. How does this all work? I'm going to talk to you about that in a little while. But right now, let's talk about these dahlia plants. These we planted back in February, and now in July they're fully mature. The maintenance is really pretty easy once they've grown up like this. You want to cut as many as you can with long stems. Of course, the long stems are good for putting in vases, but it also keeps them growing from lower down and putting out more long stems. Occasionally, as they get taller, they'll fall over a little bit. Put a stake on them. That's pretty easy. And finally, really importantly, you've got to feed them. And of course we use Rogers flower food. So how does this all work? Well, if you will follow me with the magic of video, we're going to go all the way back to February and see how it works. So please, follow me now. Okay, through the magic of video, we've gone back in time to February. We're at Rogers Gardens in the bulb tent, and this is where our dahlia story begins. These are all dahlias that we sell at Rogers. They come in great packages. They have a picture of the dahlia and the name. Dahlias have all kinds of fun names. This one is Lilac Time. This one is Lucky Number. Here's one called Aloha. Here's one called California Sunset. Today, I think we'll take this one called Rip City. That sounds like a lot of fun. So let's take this one over to an area where we can plant it, and we'll show you how that works too. So follow me. We're now going to do a planting demonstration of our dahlia tubers. In this case, we're going to plant them into this large black pot filled with potting soil. Point of fact, in my own garden, I use these pots. I have about 30 of them. I'm going to open the package. Inside, there are two distinct clumps of dahlia tubers, and we're going to plant this entire clump. It's pretty easy. We're going to dig down around 6 or so inches, and we're going to lay the dahlia tubers in on their side. And on their side is a really important aspect. Not up, not down, but on their side. Put them in there, cover them with soil, and they're planted. Now, in the case of my own garden, and it may be your case too, my black pots right now are filled with sweet peas. What am I going to do with my dahlia tubers? In point of fact, I could just as easily plant them in a smaller container like this black nursery can. This is a 3-gallon can. And then later, when they've sprouted, transfer them into the larger pot or into the garden. Last thing, it's important. Remember, we talked about all those fun names. We chose Rip City, but again, if you have a lot of dahlias, you're going to want to use a label. This is a plastic garden label, and I'm going to write Rip City on it. And I'm going to put it in the pot with my dahlia so I don't get them confused. Some years, some are going to be better than others. You're going to like one and not like another. You want to make sure you're saving the ones you like. And remember, at the end of the growing season, your dahlia tubers are still viable. You can dig them up, divide them, and plant them again next year. Good morning. Here we are back at Rogers Gardens. It's May 7th, and if you'll remember, back in February, we planted our dahlia tuber in this pot. And now you can see it's up and running just like we hoped. We've got its name tag so we don't lose track of which dahlia this is. If you become a dahlia collector, you may have a dozen of them or more, and you want to remember which one is which. Now let's say in your garden that your garden space was taken up by spring flowers, foxglove, sweet peas, whatever it might be, and so you couldn't put your dahlia tubers in its future home. So what did you do? You did, hopefully, what I did. And incidentally, I want to admit that I'm a little crazy. I have 27 pots of dahlias, and I've just finished planting pots that had sweet peas in them with the growing dahlia tubers. So I started my tubers in nursery containers. This is a conventional 3-gallon can. I started the tuber in there, and you can see it is growing just as well as the one that we planted directly in its future home. So as easy as pie, We're going to just dig a little hole. This is Rogers potting soil, the best there is. It's nice and fluffy. And this dahlia is going to pop right out of this container. I'm going to put my hand on top of the plant and I'm going to shake it, and out it comes. You can see it's rooted to the bottom. Now I'm going to put it in its future home, just like this. And within a month, this dahlia is going to be in absolute full bloom right here in this container. Now this container could also have been your garden, a soil location. I use the containers because my soil is so wretched at home. So here we go. It's going to grow, it's going to bloom. So this is Lew Whitney wrapping up the dahlia story. Let's review some of the highlights. We started back in February when we bought tubers. Rogers had a huge selection of tubers. We planted those in the ground and they grew into plants. Or we could have bought 5-gallon plants in either May or June. Some of those would already be in bloom so you can see what you're getting. Remember, they'll bloom all summer, and in the fall you can dig up your tubers, separate them and save them, and then replant them next February. On the other hand, if you're like me, you're going to want to find some new ones every year. And every year the hybridizers come out with new colors. So dahlias are not only fun, but it's the best summer cut flower you can have. So this is Lew Whitney signing off. Thanks a lot.